Hello and welcome to the Listening Post's unboxing channel on YouTube. Today I'm unboxing an in-wall subwoofer from ELAC. Now, in-wall subwoofers typically suck, and they're awful. There's so many examples of where a basic woofer has been sort of put in a big surround of some kind, a big steel grill put over it, and it's been advertised as some form of in-wall subwoofer. Or they've been passive, so you then have to shell out thousands of dollars, let's be honest, trying to then control that subwoofer. And in the end it rattles and vibrates the wall and just sounds awful, so it doesn't really get utilised. At the extreme, of course, there are some very, very good custom installation and fabricated subwoofers, but they're at the pricier end of the market, meaning that most people are not going to put them in their homes. So one of the reasons that I'm so proud to share this in-wall subwoofer from ELAC is it's a wonderful balance of all of those things. It's cost effective. It's a big enough drive unit at 10 inch to be able to get a reasonable frequency response from what you would expect from a subwoofer. It gets down to 28 Hz, quite competitive compared with most in its class. But they've reinforced this with an app controllable power amplifier, 1U high, compact, with the traditional inputs and outputs you'd expect from a good subwoofer, yet all of the power and control from an active subwoofer, with a passive in-wall to be able to discreetly place anywhere in the room. Just run some decent gauge speaker cable to it from the active part of it, the power amp, and you've got a perfect solution. So let's have a look. The packaging, pretty muted. We've got its model number. It's their IW series, so ELAC have their in-wall and their custom range are all IW. Then an S10EQ, which of course is delineating the fact that this is a 10-inch subwoofer with their equalization. Touching on that, by the way, they use a bash amplifier. Now, I know that's good marketing, but firstly, at about 400 watts a channel, they've got more than enough power to control things. Essentially, it's a module. It's what they've already done for years and years and years in their cost-effective traditional subwoofers. But with those years of experience, they've introduced with the bash amplifier their app control. You download a Bluetooth app, and from the comfort of your living room, you can sit and set this thing up. It makes it absolutely perfect. Bearing in mind that so many of these other products are just awful, or you can't control them, or you've got no ability to change the setting. To have a combination of a Bluetooth control app, a decent power amplifier, a decent drive unit, and the ability to implement all the DSP control that you need, it means this is utterly perfect for the price. We've got a few more information, other things along those lines, equalization, DSP, all about the voice coils, 2.5 inch. We've got model and serial number information and scanning on one side, an emulation of what I discussed on the other, and again an emulation there. Opening these, very, very straightforward. It's an oversized custom to ensure that there's more than enough protection of these products in transit. It's well packaged, as you can see. They haven't scrimped on the elements, knowing that these products are, well, they're going to be shipped around the place. The first thing to remove is nice and simple. It's just a cardboard filler. When you've got an amplifier of a certain shape and size and then a drive unit of another, you're going to have some of that sort of filler in place. Again, there's a box here. It's just empty. It's just a filler. Might have a power cord in it in some other countries. And then we see the two main parts. And these are relatively straightforward to remove. Okay. The first is the amplifier, which we're going to touch on in a moment's time. The second one is the first we're going to open, which is the in-wall unit. And this is where the work actually gets done. By definition, if it doesn't fit inside a wall cavity, you've failed. Nobody's going to rebuild a wall or expand it appropriately to try and fit something. So the driver technology that they've utilised is utterly perfect to ensure that they get high excursion, great control, even though it's a very compact design. Right, opening that first box, we see a cutout. As you would expect with something that's going in the wall, it's rectangular or square, and there's a cutout that falls away pretty easily to create whatever template you might need. There's an additional box, and in that is the grill. Now, unlike grills that might work magnetically with some of the in-ceiling speakers, an in-wall subwoofer is generating so much potential vibration that this is the type that clips in very, very firmly. The grill is inside a plastic bag, and it has an ELAC logo that's optional for you to add if required. Okay, it's protected in a piece of cardboard sleeve. Then, removing the lid, polystyrene lid, we see the subwoofer itself. Now, removing it from the polystyrene is relatively straightforward. And we see the driver in an oversized bag. Again, this is only half the magic, and we will be pausing to have a look at the amplifier, obviously. Firstly, straight away it will easily fit within a wall cavity. Looking at that magnet for a moment, you see just how ginormous it is. They haven't scrimped on any element of it. Yes, it's compact. Yes, that has compromised some elements of it, but to a minimal effect compared with others that are on the market for the price. You see again, its depth is easily fitted inside a wall. But if we pause for a moment, you see these massive dog legs enabling really, really solid clamping capabilities onto the wall. If I was to prep a home for this style of things, I would probably utilise some 5mm MDF or something like that to spread the load, but they've at least understood that not every installation can include that, and so they've got a big wide foot. Now again, please hang around for some photographs. We'll have some close-ups of these types of things so you can see what I'm implying. Spinning it around again to look at that depth. The basket is also very well designed, and again relatively shallow. As we spin it around, we see an elegant centrally located ELAC logo, and then a hint of some of the elaborate measures that they've gone to ensure that the grill won't chatter. Again, it clips around this and sits a little bit proud, but it's also doubled up with the magnets as well. So the two combine to create a reassurance that it's not going to chatter or create unnecessary vibration. It has a 10-inch long Excursion drive unit that's really solid, and the anglers and all of those types of moving parts are clearly well built. Putting that off to one side, we can now concentrate on the amplifier, and it's quite a large box, as you would expect. ELAC haven't scrimped on this product. The amplifier itself is rack mountable, and so we see the first accessories including the rack mounts themselves. So these are little ears that are optional that can go on the front left and right of the amplifier. And there's a series of screws enabling you to mount those brackets. Then inside we have a New Zealand ISC power cord, and taking away the foam, we see that the amplifier is sitting there beautifully protected in closed cell foam. Grabbing that out, now pulling away the last piece of foam, we reveal the fact that despite the box not having any delineation of top or bottom, this would have probably been the top, but I've opened it and it's become the bottom. Hence why we see there the user manual. You'll also see a clean pictorial of both devices proportional to their size. Okay. Now, opening the product from the bag, very straightforward. Again, a nice oversized plastic bag. The front of this, as you would probably expect, is relatively boring. What they've opted for is a screen grille to give you sort of a nice elegant approach to it. Behind it there is the Bluetooth link and power button, just giving you an understanding of what's going on. There is subtly screen printed ELAC and the S10EQ W for in-wall. Tilting it forward, you see a relatively elaborate ventilation, obviously for its amplification stages, and you can see it's relatively easy to integrate in an environment. Theatre amplifier underneath perhaps. There's more than enough of a footprint to stack other things with it, should it be required. It's relatively standard in its depth, and again, ventilation, and the mounting points that I alluded to for the rack ears. As you would expect, it's at the back that kind of things start to get a little bit better from a feature set perspective. As you would expect, we have the IEC power input with a fuse beneath, and a simple enough rocker switch for the basic power on and off. Beside it is its output, and this is the its amplification out to the subwoofer. We see an implementation as far as the bash and other logos, and then we see some control elements in it. This is why this product is so good in its price. We see the 3-pin RS232 in a pull-away screw terminal, and Ethernet control as well, so you can control it via an IP address or a web address if required. There's also a basic 12-volt trigger giving you a forcing it on or off. The unit has basic sensing on board, so it's relatively straightforward for it to go to standby if required. It has traditional analog inputs in a stereo pair, with one clearly labelled as LFE. It will handle a stereo input as well, and then, as you wouldn't really expect with most in this price, we see it duplicated with the speaker input, allowing a drop tap should you not have an LFE or line output spare. So there we have it. A fabulous in-wall combination from ELAC, this 10-inch 400 watt in-wall subwoofer, unboxed here at the Listening Post in Christchurch, New Zealand. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel.